might be a year or two behind it, because I'll give you an example. I just found out about Invincible watching Invincible. You know what I mean? So, and I remember hearing about it maybe when I first got on Facebook years ago, and I was like, what is this thing? It's an Invincible thing, you know what I mean? But it's 2021 and I'm just now getting caught up on it. And I do that so that I'm not influenced by so easily, you know what I mean? So it's a dance, you know what I mean? It is a dance, you know, to not be influenced, but at the same time to not miss all this nerd stuff you love, you know?
Right. Yeah, that is hard. That is, well, I won't say it's hard, it's a challenge. Like for me, I get more inspiration these days from video games than movies because there's so much of a regurgitation of the themes. But I just got a PlayStation 4. I've been out of gaming for 10 years. So my oldest son dropped off some games. I've been playing the Final Fantasies, and their worlds, even between the games, are so different. Where I'm just walking around and there's like a modified Spinosaurus just by a lake having a drink. And at the same time, I'm having strange buffaloes and rhinos with 3 horns who just happen to all be walking around the area. And I finish the fight, cell phone, take a selfie. And I like how other artists are incorporating the way technology is moving while still keeping the fantasy and blending that with the sci-fi. So
I'll tell you what's the Star Wars universe I thought was brilliant, because with Star Wars, they would take you, it might be a planet full of strange looking little hairy people, and there might be a planet of humanoids, a planet of space, Bigfoot, Chewbacca and them, you know what I mean? And for whatever reason, I'm sure in that world, there's no discrimination based on your appearance or where you come from. You know what I mean? Or maybe where you come from, but not just because. And I thought that was one of the things I found most beautiful about science fiction, is that you could escape some of the ugly realities that you're kind of dogged down by, just because we exist in a place and a time where it's not so much victim of circumstance, but it is the circumstance that we were born in, that these things are often prevalent in the forefront. And a lot of times I think that when people find comic books or movies or whatever your escape is, they might not so much want to have the world be so much in their face. So I think what I do, or what I try to do, is I try to be true to the fact that this is an escape for people. And you know me from if you read in my Facebook post, you might think that I'm like some political, is just completely the way I am. And it's like, nah, like we talk, and when we talk, it's very rarely that we even get on a political subject. It's usually some nerd stuff like we're doing now. You understand?
Public, and it's social media is public. You just walk around with your head in the sand.
Exactly. But I think what I'm most guilty of is that sometimes I think that stuff can, for me personally, it can be just that, it can be personal. And when you're a creator, that's one of the most dangerous things that you run into. Things that might stymie your own creativity. You know what I mean? Give me a moment, because my phone's going to die. Let me grab something. Let me grab my charger. Give me 2 seconds. I know this is so unprofessional. Can you give me a moment? Though I apologize.
All right. Go for it. I gotta. 2 seconds.
Right here.
Oh, good.
Yes, you have to excuse my surroundings. My mother recently moved into a condominium, and she's been out of this home since probably the pandemic started. And so I just recently got the keys back, got the keys to it. And my mother, she said she's elderly now, so I'm trying to decide on what I'm going to do with the place. Which way to go. So again, I apologize, but yeah. So where were we?
Oh,
Yeah, that's
chopping it up on the state of everything. um, but I do got one more main question, which is, what tip would you give anybody aspiring to start writing a story in the fantasy sci-fi arena? What what one jewel do you think you could give them that would give them the most boost in getting to where they need to be?
turn everything else off and do your project.
Okay.
Seriously. It sounds so simple. That's the most important thing I think that anybody can do. You have to turn off the outside noise, and because you have the idea. Like you and I both, you have the idea, you have the
Right.
format, you have the structure. You know what you want to do. Okay. Now you have to do it. And
Right.
understand that when you're doing it, that there's this thing that we take for granted, and it is called time. And to do and complete these projects, it takes time. If there's ever a time where you have devoted to this project, and for whatever reason, it might be your Facebook, ping, a text message, Netflix, YouTube, somebody knocking at your door, whatever it is, remember, it's going to cost you your time away from the project that you're working on. It's going to cost time. And time is a thing where you can't do two things at once because it takes time. You can do one thing at a time. And so more than anything, I would encourage everybody to focus on your time management and to just do the work. And believe me, when I'm talking to everybody, I am talking to myself too. So this is not me wagging my finger. This is me telling myself and the rest of you. If I had any advice to give myself and you, take time to finish your project, to do your project. And don't let anything deter you from that. That would be the biggest thing. And then of course, again, to sound completely cheesy, man, it's going to take practice and dedication. You have to sit there and do it. So there's going to be times being a creator, you have to not only delegate your time, but you have to be accustomed to some of that time being lonely. And when I say lonely, I'm not a lonely person, but there's times where you're going to be alone. Um, at least for me, I can't create too much with a lot of cursory noise or background noise from whomever it is. I just can't. Not if I'm going to do my best work. I try to do a page a day, which for me is a task because I'm so detail oriented.
Right.
That's more than anything, your time to make sure that you focus on it and you know, or perhaps like if you are detail oriented, make sure in your block of your day 3-4 hours. And when I tell you